What is good, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Today, I am talking about Warframe. Uh, there's a couple of things I wanted to talk about, but I guess I'll start with the main thing, and that is that recently, over the last 9 weeks, I have been getting back into the game. And as a result, I have had Twitch chat, myself, and my mods all do either some research or just tell me things that I need to be doing and sort of help me get back into the game. Because there is a lot of content in this game. This is one of the biggest and greatest free to play games in history and will probably stay that way for quite some time with the way they're going with things. Nevertheless, as a result, I really needed to make sure that I didn't get too lost. So I did a lot of research and I found out that even though, yeah, sure, I have just gotten back into the game, many moons ago when I was playing this game, I made some serious boo boos. So, what were those serious boo boos? Well, let me give you a bit of context before we get into them properly. Number one, when I started playing this game, it was a really long time ago. Before Cetus, before Fortuna, all of that. And when I stopped playing the game was basically right after Fortuna. And during that period of time, I played the game relatively casually. I got about 600, maybe 700 hours in it max. And most of that was spent doing the wrong things. And that's because when I was playing this game and I first got into this game, I was actually very much so a TF2 gamer. I really love TF2 and specifically the trading aspect of TF2. And so when I was playing this game and getting into this game, my friends told me about how you could trade. And so all I gave a crap about was, well, trading and making a profit because I was apparently a greedy little businessman back then. Nevertheless, I did end up doing a bunch of things wrong because of that. So let's get into what I did wrong. But first of all, I'll do a quick thing of what I did right because, well, the right things are very minimal. So for starters, because I did trading as my main focus, of course, mastery rank and credits were basically the two things that were the most important aspect of the game that I could grind and that I could do. So I basically ground out millions of credits, like millions of credits. I think I had at one point like 100 million credits. Um, and I've just been slowly whittling away at that reserve. But I did the index over and over and over again because that was the best thing to farm for credits back in the day. And I was farming the index like an absolute machine. I had a whole bunch of goofy ass weapons and the Tigress Prime and a bunch of other things just running around with Rhino back when he didn't have Overguard and he just had his Iron Skin be like a weird separate health pool. And I did that. I did that a lot. Outside of that, I also just focused on mastery rank. I focused entirely on mastery rank. I actually didn't really ever touch the full star chart. I never did the full star chart up until the very end of me playing the game. I decided to start going for it, and then I got burnt out and quit. But before that, I was literally never touching the star chart much. I was only grinding what I needed to grind to get the weapons that I was building at the time. I would solely wait for affinity booster weekends, and I would just sit on Hydron with an affinity booster weekend and essentially just level up weapon after weapon after weapon after weapon. Otherwise, I would be farming for fishes to try and make some plat to then sell. I was not really doing a lot. However, the mastery rank was actually a positive in a way because it meant that when I came back to the game, I had access to everything from every Riven to every Warframe to every weapon, and more importantly, I was able to have a pretty high daily standing limit, and also I was able to make a bunch of trades, which was important for my, I guess, coming back to the game. The other thing that was fortunate about this was, like I said, I opened a lot of fissures, and while I didn't necessarily keep most of my sets, what I would end up doing is I would end up farming a set, redeeming one, and then selling the rest. Which is why I ended up with a lot of prime warframes and prime weapons as well. I also happened to be a little bit of a low spender in the game at the time, so I think I spent about 100 Australian dollars getting a couple of things here and there to just help me grind those different missions, as well as give me a little bit of platinum to kickstart funding my trading even more. I then basically went and invested the rest of my time in that 600-hour period into farming Rivens, which was, again, technically kind of a positive. It did mean that I had a bunch of Godroll Rivens, from Grakata Rivens to Boltor Rivens to Dokram Rivens. But nevertheless, I had a bunch of Rivens, and I invested pretty much the rest of my hours into doing that, which was one of my major mistakes. I spent a long time grinding Kuva back then, because Rivens were worth thousands of platinum if you got a Godroll Riven. You could sell some for 700 platinum, 1000 platinum, 10,000 platinum for some if they were the perfect roll. And this is where a lot of my time and platinum went into it. However, I was not the sharpest tool in the shed back then, and I made a couple of mistakes. One was, well, wasting a lot of time doing this in the first place. But two, I didn't cash out when I quit the game, because I didn't actually intend on quitting the game. My computer just wouldn't let me run the game any longer. My computer actually broke so much that I couldn't load into the game to even get to the menu, let alone trade away and cash out my platinum. So I was stuck with a bunch of Godroll Rivens, and, well, DE apparently didn't like the fact that I had a bunch of Godroll Rivens, because it made Rivens practically worth nothing now. Most Rivens are worth 10 to 100 platinum on a good day, and that is kind of where they sit, because Kuva is, well, stupidly easy to get, and more importantly, the Rivens themselves are also way easier to get, thanks to the fact that they basically don't only come from the sortie or daily login rewards. So what am I left with after 700 hours of account play? Well, a couple of Warframes with no real mods whatsoever, and leveled up anyway, and I guess a handful of Rivens worth nothing. So I got back to the game, like I said, about 9 weeks ago, and I realized that I had one hell of a task at hand. I had to unlock Steel Path, I had to get all of my Warframes, well, back up and running in terms of builds, getting my mods, getting my endo sorted, and so your boy had a lot of work to do. And luckily enough, within the first week of playing the game and realizing that I wanted to commit to actually playing the game again, I got offered 75% off platinum. As well as, I think I bought a little bit of the Aya. I think I bought like 4 Aya because I saw a cosmetic that I wanted. But nevertheless, I ended up getting 4,000 platinum as a whole, I think a little over 4,000 platinum, for 75% off, and I decided to fix my account with it. Now, could I fix my account with it? Well, let's talk about that. The first thing that I did was pick a Warframe that I had to fully build and get relatively completed, and then start making my way through getting stuff together. So, what did I spend that 4,000 platinum on? Well, I went ahead and I got myself a Mirage. I got myself a Mirage Prime. I already owned her, but more or less, I was upgrading my Mirage Prime. I now only have 84 plat, as you can see, but I upgraded my Mirage Prime. Now, the first things that I did was pick up a couple of Arcanes, specifically Energize and Molt Augmented, because I desperately needed those for my build, and then I spent basically the rest of my plat on A, some cosmetics, but B, also a bunch of modifications because I just didn't have many of them. Some of them I bought fully leveled up and maxed out with Endo because I didn't have the Endo to max them, and then a bunch of the others I bought for the sake of, well, just getting plenty of the mods together. So primed mods, Archon mods, getting the Endo that I basically put, like, I got people to give me the Endo in their mods too. I was able to get arcanes, weapons, all that sort of jazz. I basically spent a long time perfecting my Mirage. I ended up with about 2,000 platinum left, I believe. And with that 2,000 platinum, after upgrading my Mirage, basically spending 1,000 plat on arcanes and then another 1,000 plat on mods to upgrade my guns and my Mirage, I ended up with 2,000 plat left, which I spent on, roughly speaking, I want to say maybe 1,000 or so on purely cosmetics, and then another 500 on the Necromech, because the Necromech grind was pretty bad, and I just wanted to skip it to keep going with my stuff. And then the last, like, 400 or so, I think I spent on Warframe slots, weapon slots, and stuff like that, as I was already pretty maxed out on those. So I just quickly went ahead and got a bunch of those too, leaving me with about 84 left over. However, now I am able to fully complete the star chart. I have gotten Steel Path unlocked. I have gotten a slew of new Warframes together that are all fully built and do different things, from defense to farming to interception to excavation to extermination to Netracells to spy missions. I've got them all set up, ready to go. I've unlocked all of the Zariman weapons. I've fully leveled up and upgraded 5 weapons in particular, 1 rifle and 4 shotguns to do various different things. I got myself a Latum and a Sikaris Prime Incarnon, which I then used to use as my secondaries, both of which are fully maxed out. I got myself the Praetos and my Dokram as well, so that way I could get that sorted and make sure that I've got everything that I need, along with a Panzervolpaphyla as a companion to get through pretty much any content in the game. And now I can build any character, any Warframe, and relatively speaking, progress through. I also was able to fix myself up a Helminth, farm up a Rhino, and get Raw able to be put on my Helminth as well, as Molt and a couple of other random things. I was also able to progress through the Daviri circuit. So overall, I just ended up in a situation where that 4,000 plat has kickstarted me back into the game, and now I am tackling Kuvaliches, I'm tackling Sisters of Pavos, I'm tackling leveling up and maxing out all my syndicates. I've still got a little bit to do on Fortuna and the Sanctum Anatomica. Deimos is basically done. Cetus is done. And a bunch of the operator sort of smaller syndicates are done as well. So I'm getting there and I'm almost caught up. So as a whole, that 4,000 plat went an absolutely long way and has kickstarted me back straight into where I need to be. Now, in saying that, if you don't make these mistakes, you don't need to worry about spending 4,000 platinum. I certainly only did it because, well, I was kind of in a state where I was already at the end game in terms of my actual content state that I was in. I just wasn't anywhere near equipped for it. So the only thing I could do was actually sit down and spend some money and get the things that I needed, and then grind the things that I needed to finish off. A lot of those Warframes I already had, or I just grinded out recently on stream to help myself get sorted because I didn't have enough chance. In saying that as well, if you do things right from the very beginning, you will not have this problem. So hopefully you guys enjoyed just getting to see where I'm at in my account, as well as, more importantly, how I solved the very large boo-boos that I made as well. So if you don't know I'll show you real quick as well. Simply put it, these are all of the Warframe mods that I've gotten over the time. I've bought a couple of galvanized mods myself from doing arbitrations, but I also bought some just by trading earlier on. I also traded for a couple of primed mods, mainly primed charge shell and redirection, which I didn't own already. These are all the Rivens that I kept. A lot of them I sold or traded away. I also picked up a bunch of these mods for my companion that I didn't own as well, and I've slowly collected more and more mods as I've gone along, as well as arcanes, with the main ones being Arcane Energize. I had to pick up when I got back from it. I already had Arcane Grace, and I just finished farming the Exodia Contagion ones. I also picked up an Arcane Aegis, as well as a Molt Augmented, because they were two really, really important mods that I needed as well. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I'm sorry for it being a bit long-winded, but I really wanted to just show off exactly what I had done to fix my account. And I appreciate all of the support and love that you guys have given me over the last couple of weeks getting back into the game. If you do want to check me out live and join me on my journey back to getting back into this game, please do come by on a Wednesday afternoon. I go live every single Wednesday with Warframe. Also, Saturdays and Sundays, I do Warframe content earlier on in the afternoon as well. So if you want to check those out, please do say hello. Otherwise, I am live every day with some War Thunder and doing YouTube content absolutely every single day as well. I'm going to probably do more content on Warframe later on in the month, so please do come by, hang out, and say hello, because I'm going to have plenty more to do then. Nevertheless, give some love, and I will see you all very, very soon. Thank you so much for watching, and farewell.